Legacy Motor Club explains why they left Chevy for Toyota, and an old familiar sponsor may be making a NASCAR return. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Legacy Motor Club, I believe, hit rock bottom last year. Leadership shuffle, then the announcement that they would be switching manufacturer, were no longer getting the support they needed from Chevrolet. Couple that with a driver getting suspended 2/3 of the way through the season, Legacy Motor Club was in shambles in 2023. But you know what they say, buy low, sell high. Now is the perfect time to hop on the Legacy Motor Club bandwagon if you're giving it any serious consideration. The team president shed some light this week on exactly why they left Chevy for Toyota. We'll get to that in just a few moments, but I actually want to start with an Instagram story post. We got to get to this quick because, these stories disappear after 24 hours. I actually was made aware of this when checking Reddit. Someone posted a screenshot. I went and checked for myself, but Justin Marks, team owner of Trackhouse, posted this photo of Shane Van Gisbergen signing his 2024 contract, tagged Shane Van Gisbergen, Chevrolet, Trackhouse, WeatherTech, and Red Bull. And you look closely at that photo, SVG's rocking a Red Bull ball cap. When I first saw this screenshot, I didn't even bat an eye. We know SVG has a personal deal with Red Bull. He's a Red Bull athlete. Shoot, at the Chicago street race this past summer, he got out of the car wearing a Red Bull sponsored helmet. But then, and I do this quite often, I started to read too much perhaps into this post. It's not SVG posting this. This is Justin Marks. This is Trackhouse making this post. This is Trackhouse tagging Red Bull next to WeatherTech, another sponsor of the team. I'm probably jumping to conclusions, but wouldn't it be awesome if Red Bull made a legitimate NASCAR return? Red Bull Racing isn't coming back to NASCAR, but could we see a Red Bull primary scheme on one of SVG's Chevrolets this year? That would be incredible. Red Bull is an extremely recognizable brand in the motorsports world. Sometimes it feels like Red Bull is more known as a motorsports team than they are an energy drink, although they are a massive energy drink brand as well. So having Red Bull involved in NASCAR, represented in NASCAR in any capacity is pretty cool and is big for stock car racing. Red Bull versus Monster once again. Man, I miss the Casey Kane, Brian Vickers, blue and silver tandem days. Would be awesome to see a primary Red Bull scheme back in NASCAR. I'm probably jumping to conclusions, but this post obviously caught Reddit's attention and it caught mine as well after a few seconds of studying it. Another story that captured the NASCAR world's attention yesterday came from Mike Pryson writing for Autoweek about why Legacy Motor Club chose to switch from Chevrolet to Toyota beginning in 2024. I'll link the full article down below. It includes a bunch of quotes from Cal Wells III, CEO of Legacy Motor Club. He took on the role in the middle of last year. In this article, Wells explains that it was tough for Jimmy Johnson and Maury Gallagher, who'd both had tons of success with Chevrolet, to leave General Motors. But Wells felt it was a necessary move to make the team more competitive. Cal Wells did say he was shocked that Chevy wasn't putting more resources into Legacy Motor Club, considering their history with those two owners. Wells said, quote, "This will always surprise me that there wasn't more of a focus on Legacy Motor Club. And Maury winning multiple truck championships for Chevy, you would just think that General Motors would say, Jimmy, Maury, look at what we can do. Let's move them up to be more independent and call them a true Tier 1. Now, Wells refers to Tier 1 teams multiple times here. Really, that's the same as what we sometimes call key partner teams. Teams that get the most support and resources from their respective manufacturer. Like Chevrolet's Tier 1 or key partner teams are Hendrick Motorsports, Trackhouse, and Richard Childress. Wells felt like Legacy Motor Club should be allowed to join that group, but as he says, quote, "Unfortunately, General Motors just didn't feel that way, and they left Legacy at what I would consider a Tier 3, where the information was very limited and intentional. I mean, this isn't to say that Jim Campbell and Eric Warren of Chevy didn't pay a lot of attention to Gallagher Motorsports and then Jimmy and then Richard Petty and then how it continued to evolve into Legacy, because they did, but they had Tier 1 teams that they had made huge investments in, and they were wanting to appropriately support their other true key partner teams. Man, Legacy was a Tier 3? Woo, not even a tier 2, man. That only makes Eric Jones's 2022 Southern 500 win that much more impressive, in my opinion. But in other words, it sounds like Chevrolet wasn't comfortable spreading themselves any more thin than they already were. Like I said, Chevy already has 3 true key partner tier 1 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's in line with what the other manufacturers have. Ford has 3 tier 1 teams. Toyota had 2, this year will now have 3. These quotes really, I think, confirm what many of us already believed, was that, yeah, Chevy didn't want to lose Jimmy Johnson, the Richard Petty brand, Maury Gallagher, but that deal came together so quick, and Chevy already had 3 established winning championship caliber race teams. There just weren't enough resources to reasonably go around. Again, Chevy has 3 key partner teams, Ford has 3, now Toyota has 3. Like, that kind of seems to be the limit. But again, this confirms, I think, what we all believed, that Legacy's switch to Toyota was solely about performance. There was no easy path towards becoming a tier 1 or key partner team with Chevrolet, so they went to a manufacturer that had room at the end, so to speak. And I've said this before, but I would argue that now is the perfect time for Legacy Motor Club to join Toyota. Legacy Motor Club will be faster this year. Toyota is getting an all-new Camry that I'm sure has been optimized to the best of their ability. Remember, there's 6 super speedway races now on the schedule. 2 of them are in the playoffs. Strength in numbers, having key partner teammates you can rely on is extremely important. I remember talking to Justin Haley last year before the summer Daytona race, and he sounded extremely pessimistic because he knew he wasn't a key partner Chevy driver. He knew that the odds of somebody working with him were extremely low. He felt like he had no teammates out there. His one true teammate, AJ Allmendinger, was in it for himself trying to make the playoffs. Legacy Motor Club was in the same boat last year. They really couldn't rely on anyone else except maybe each other. But now they'll have 6 other Toyota teammates, all key partners who potentially would work with them at these very important strategic superspeedway style races. I have lofty expectations for Legacy Motor Club next year. I think things will be a little rocky out the gates. Jimmy Johnson is still new. Maury Gallagher and GMS are still fairly new to the Cup Series. Richard Petty is still hanging around there in some capacity. So you've got several big names, big brands, big personalities trying to bring their own touch to the culture. So it may be a bit rocky out the gates, but I think they'll figure things out before too long. I think their cars will just be that fast. You remember last week I explained why I doubted Stewart-Haas Racing. They had a bad 2023 by their standards and haven't made a single move this offseason that I believe makes them better. Same crew chief, same executive leadership, they're behind on the dark horse, and they lost a Hall of Fame caliber driver. I feel the exact opposite about Legacy Motor Club right now. I'm buying Legacy Motor Club stock because I believe they have made positive changes this offseason. Already talked about the switch to Toyota, but now they'll be a key partner tier 1 team. I also mentioned Toyota getting a new Camry. I think that will be a positive. The last time Toyota updated their Camry, they won the championship in 2017 with Martin Truex. But beyond just Toyota, they've added John Hunter Nemechek, who has a year of Cup Series experience and is fresh off an Xfinity Series season where he won 7 races. No disrespect to Noah Gragson. I think he's good, but I'm not sure he was the right fit at Legacy Motor Club last year. Also, the 42 will have a new crew chief, Ben Bayshore, who just won 7 races with John Hunter in Xfinity. And the year before that, he made the playoffs in the Cup Series with Kyle Busch despite being a lame duck season. Oh, and perhaps I'm biased on this one, but Legacy also has brought in Matt Kenseth to serve as some sort of driver coach and Toyota ambassador to help smoothen that transition. Not sure how big a difference that'll make, but Matt Kenseth can only help that team in my opinion. My extremely biased opinion, I'll admit. So there you go. I just named 3, 4, 5 changes that I believe objectively will make Legacy Motor Club better. The 43 and 42 cars were 27th and 32nd in owners' points last year, respectively. Terrible, abysmal, atrocious. They are at their lowest right now. Now's the time to buy. I believe one Legacy Motor Club Toyota will make the playoffs this year. That's my first bold prediction for the year. Book it. one Legacy Motor Club Toyota makes the postseason. And Chevrolet, I should probably talk about Chevy here, they're going to be just fine. They've still got Hendrick Motorsports, who won 10 races last year. Half the championship 4 was Hendrick Motorsports Chevys. They've got Richard Childress Racing and Kyle Busch, who won 3 times. Trackhouse won twice. I mean, combined, Chevrolet won more races than Ford or Toyota. Now, they'll have to wait until 2025 to get a new body. I'm not sure if they'll keep the Camaro or replace it. So I am a little worried that Chevy will be a tick off compared to Ford and Toyota this season. But they have no reason to fret. They have 3 very solid key partner organizations. You've got Hendrick Motorsports, the ace, Trackhouse, the exciting young phenom, and Richard Childress Racing, the cagey veteran. Chevrolet will be just fine in the long run, but I think Legacy Motor Club made a fantastic decision at the exact right time to switch to Toyota. This isn't going to be another Furniture Row or Levine Family Racing situation. Legacy Motor Club's not a satellite team. They're independent. 2311, that's a satellite team. They're still getting a lot of resources from JGR. Legacy Motor Club will be working directly with Toyota, so I don't fear a Levine or Furniture Row situation happening to Legacy Motor Club anytime in the near future. Let me know what your expectations for Legacy Motor Club are down in the comment section below. Are you on the bandwagon with me, or are you still hesitant? I mean, again, both these cars were outside the top 25 in owner points last year. One was outside the top 30. Gosh. But I'm confident in this team. Let me know if you're on the bandwagon with me or not. Now, I probably should just end the video here. I got in trouble the last time I questioned a musical artist's relevancy on this show, but no, I'm going to talk about this. Yesterday, Speedway Motorsports announced the Tim Duggar and Friends Tour. Country music artist Tim Duggar will perform the pre-race concert at 10 races this season. You can see his full schedule right there. I'm not like a big country music guy, but I've seen Tim Duggar perform a couple of times at NASCAR themed events, and it puts on a decent show. He's solid, good performer. But that's always been the weird part, is if you don't live inside the NASCAR bubble, do you know who this guy is? I looked him up on Spotify. He hasn't released a full album to my knowledge. He basically just releases a song every year since 2011. And he's only got 24,000 monthly listeners. I don't mean to criticize, but that's not huge by any means. I'm not questioning Tim Duggar's ability to perform and put on a decent show, but I guess my point in bringing this up is he's not selling tickets, or at least he's not selling tickets to non-NASCAR fans. Look at some of the tracks he's performing at: Texas, Sonoma. Each year, those tracks have thousands of unsold empty seats. It'd be great if a few times this year SMI actually invested in an A or maybe B+ list performer to try and get some butts in those empty seats. Maybe make a new NASCAR fan out of one or two of them. I was at Texas Motor Speedway just a couple years ago when they had Blake Shelton perform. The garage area was packed. I saw Dierks Bentley perform at North Wilkesboro this past summer. Great crowd. Again, I don't mean this as a dig against Tim Duggar. Again, puts on a good show. If he was doing a couple of pre-race shows this year, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be a fan. But SMI has him doing 10 pre-race shows? I'm sorry, this is a missed opportunity. Steve Phelps a couple months ago said that everyone in the industry needs to sort of be working towards a common goal. Everyone needs to be trying to grow the sport, from teams and drivers to tracks themselves. This is not growing the sport. This is SMI cheaping out on a great opportunity to bring new audiences into the sport. I really hope this doesn't come off as a slight against Tim Duggar. Good performer, solid musician, but he shouldn't be opening for 10 NASCAR Cup Series races this season. That's ridiculous. I really hope I didn't just get myself in trouble again. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are there any huge Tim Duggar fans out there? I saw some on social media. A lot of folks were excited about this announcement. Happy for you guys. He does put on a good show, but he's not selling tickets to non-NASCAR fans. That's my point. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. While you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Helps me out a ton. And subscribe if you're new to the channel and you love all things NASCAR. And as always, a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for spending part of your day with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks again for tuning in, folks.